Welcome to Beyond the Press, presented by Kicks. As always, D here, and I got my guy Jaron. And Jaron, tandemly for the first time, we got our first guest, and I'm really excited to introduce someone that you're familiar with. It's Davon Reed. Day, how you doing?
What's going on, boss? First guest, you said?
You're our first
First
guest. A lot
guest
of
we've done
pressure.
together.
I appreciate that, man. I'm honored.
Yeah, so, it's interesting, for me, this is me meeting you for the first time, but you and Jaron have some history together. You came up through the college ranks together, and you're also in the pre-draft process. So my first question is not actually for Davon, but Jaron, when is the first time you met Day, and what can you tell us about him?
Obviously I played against him in college a few times. And then we had the pre-draft stuff in Vegas where we were both signed with the same agent. That's actually where we met Austin also out in Vegas at Impact doing pre-draft training. And that's where I met Davon. One thing I can tell the fans about him, he's a hilarious guy. He's probably top 5 funniest guys I know.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
I don't know. Top 5 basketball players I know, like funniest. For sure. Okay. Not even close.
I'm honored again. I'm honored.
One of one. I see it on the chain. One of one. I like that.
So Davon, tell me about your humor style. Like, what is it? Like a dry, sarcastic humor, or like, are you just like, explain that to me?
I wouldn't call myself that funny. I'm honored that JB thinks I'm that funny. I think it's just the lingo that we were using from Miami. Jokes we would make. A lot of that stuff I was just bringing the impact and the pre-draft, just making sure we were having fun while we were working out every day. Yeah, I just like to play on words and stuff, but I'm not like a tell jokes all day type of dude.
This guy's not.
Some people are just like naturally funny. You know what I'm saying? Like some people tell me I'm funny. I don't think I'm funny at all, but
I can tell you for a fact I don't think you're funny.
Like,
so I'm there right there with you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I don't think I'm funny at all. But like some
funny.
guys like nah, not like you, bro. Not like you. It's just something about you that's just funny. But like when you laughing, like I'm laughing.
All right.
So guys, tell me about that 2016 pre-draft process. Was there a first time that you guys ran into each other in the court? Maybe you guys played together. What do you guys recall about that 2016 period?
For me, it was a whole new experience. Having to leave Miami and go to Vegas. It wasn't something I was necessarily looking forward to. I was looking forward to the pre-draft process, but I didn't really want to leave Miami if I had to. But once I got to Vegas and we got the impact and I saw the group of guys that we had, JB included, it made it fun to show up every day and work hard and push ourselves and push one another's. It was a better experience once I got there than what I had anticipated it being. We had a great group. We had a great pre-draft, and I feel like everybody definitely got better.
Yeah, Christian was my guy back then, and I remember I started my pre-draft in Atlanta, and he told me like 2 weeks in, like I'm gonna move you guys to Vegas, like everybody. It was like me, Justin Patton, obviously Davon, Juwan Evans, and like a few other guys, and like the first week there, we obviously bonded very, very well. And like Davon said, like it made it a lot easier coming to work every day, like being able to see each other, joke around, laugh, get our work done. And like we were a tight knit group also, like we were hanging out outside the court, going out, doing whatever it was. It was fun though. It was fun.
I'm curious, like, Davon, you went from Miami to Vegas, right? And Miami has its vices, right? You can easily get in trouble in Miami. So going into Vegas not to fall in those same traps. For you, Jaron, you come from a small place like Clemson, and you're like Vegas, bright lights. Like between the both of you, how do you make sure that you stay focused and you don't fall off track when you get to Vegas?
Davon, being from Miami, like I understand. I remember Davon would always say like, Vegas not touching Miami. And like at that point in my life, I wasn't experienced with Miami like at all. Like I don't think I had I don't think to that point I had been outside of playing, my Miami in college. But my last 2 summers, Davon, I spent in Miami not pre-draft, like training, like summer training. So like now I can tell you, yes, you're right, bro. Vegas comes nowhere near Miami. Nowhere near.
It's like apples to oranges. You can't compare.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Miami. You been to Miami, D?
I've not. It's like one of my like guilty pleasures. I've always wanted to be to South Beach.
Oh man. And South Beach not even the best part of it.
Exactly. Like
Oh yeah.
that's like tourist area.
Yeah.
So there's some like nooks and crannies that you really got to get into to find like the best parts of Miami.
I tell people all the time, like if you went to Miami or you going to Miami and you have that tourist experience, like that's just the tourist side. Like once you start diving into the city, like the food, the culture, just everything else, then you'll love Miami and appreciate Miami way more.
You think you could live there, Davon, long term?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's like, is it Florida like retirement city?
Not Miami. Maybe Fort Lauderdale.
Miami. Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale.
Put me in Miami. Retire me in Miami.
Find Davon in flip flops down in Miami.
They want to be 50 in the clubs too.
The biggest thing for me is when I'm out there, I just feel my best. I don't know how to explain it. Like as soon as I touch down, like my aura is different.
You
like
feel different. You feel different. It's like when you land. It's like when you land in California, bro. You just feel different.
Yeah, but it's just not the same type of feeling for sure.
I was gonna say it's all that melatonin and vitamin D, right? That hits you right away as soon as you hop off that plane.
Right.
Yeah. So Davon, good weather has followed you, right? You like I said, Miami, then Vegas, and then you got drafted by the Suns. Do you remember some of those early conversations that you had the Suns that maybe gave you a good feeling that they would possibly pick you up?
To be honest with you, bro, I didn't know what. I think like a lot of us, everybody but Justin Patton kind of had an idea of like where they were falling. I feel like the rest of the group, although we all had talent and we had a pretty good college career, we didn't know where we were going to fall. And the same was true for me up until the day before the draft. I worked out the day before the draft with New York, so I didn't really have a clue where I was falling. I knew that I worked out with Phoenix twice, and the only other team I had worked out twice was for Indiana, who I later played for as well. So that was the only real, only real thing I could say is that I worked out for them and another team twice, but I didn't have any promises. And then draft night came, and then I was blessed to hear my name called by Phoenix. So,
Davon.
Yeah.
Looking back, because I actually remember I was there. I remember the moment that they called your name. I remember Christian. He was like, Phoenix is going Davon at 31. And I'm like, what? Like, no way. It was 31, 32.
32.
32. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And like, you didn't go, obviously. So looking back on it, do you wish you went?
No, I didn't, because the moment that I was able to share with my family and my friends, kind of just not a small group, but just like an intimate group of people that I care about a lot and that care about me. That was really surreal. I mean, if I had a chance to get a suit and all that and kind of prepare for it, then maybe. But my whole thing was just being around love, and I didn't want to be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? I want to be with my people and us celebrate together.
It's tough because like when you don't know where you're gonna end up, it's just like, man, like what's gonna happen? Because obviously I went 59th. Like I was there with my family and all that, so I sat there the whole night. I was the last player, like around pick 50 or like 52. Like I was the last player left, like still in the stands. It was like me, like and a couple fans like to my left, and like some regular people like sitting all around other parts of the arena. And like I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Like there's no way, like because around pick 50, Christian was like, yo, Atlanta's gonna take you at 60. Bottom line, like 60's done. I'm like, all right, man, like fine. So then San Antonio called and it was like, hey, like, would you do an undrafted free agent with us? And I'm like, nah, like I came here with my family, I got my suit on, like there's no way I'm walking out of here. Like if I don't get picked, I'm going on stage. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be on stage. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like I can't come out here with my family and friends and all my close ones and not get picked, man. That's just it's kind of your ego's in the way a little bit, but it's also a little. It's like it's embarrassing, man. Like it's just a bad feeling. So like looking back on it, like I tell people all the time, like if I wasn't actually at the draft, like I would have went undrafted and then probably got like a two-way somewhere. But like I chose to play in the G League. Like the Spurs retained my rights for my whole rookie G League year, so I couldn't really do anything other than play for them. So it was kind of a bad deal that I accepted, but I accepted it because I wanted to get drafted. So like it's tough, bro. It's tough. I understand why you didn't want to. Yeah. Why you didn't want to do all that.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, like I did it the way that I would do it again. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? It's all like fun and fun to be there with your family if it's a situation where you kind of know. But when you're in the unknown, like we were, it was
Hmm.
just something. Like I said, I would rather. At the end of the night, I just wanted to be around like the people that love me and I love. You
Right.
know what I mean? So no matter what's going on, we can celebrate with each other. You know.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you talk about family a lot, and I noticed in like your social media and a lot of things that you do, you talk about your pops a lot, right? Your pops has obviously had, you know, a big impact on you. I saw an interview where you said, you know, you picked up a basketball at the age of 5, and your dad was a huge reason for that. So I'm curious, you know, growing up, you know, what kind of basketball did you watch with your dad? Because I'm always fascinated by kids who grow up, you know, watching sports with their folks. 'Cause, like, were you forced to watch Nick games? Was there a certain player that your dad was enamored with? What was that experience like growing up with your father watching hoops?
I grew up watching two teams growing up. My team was the Sixers because of Allen Iverson. I'm from New
Ah,
Jersey, but I'm probably closer to Philly than New York. So I grew up watching AI. That was my personal favorite. But whenever I watched basketball with my dad, he was a Spurs fan. So
oh,
that good basketball movement, kind of just selfless. Everybody shares the game. Like aspect that I kind of bring to my game, I definitely get from watching the Spurs play.
that's super interesting. Well, and the irony is that you're in a Nuggets uniform now, and that's, you know, where AI ended up playing some of his late in his career as well.
For sure, for sure.
Um, so you know you grow up as I guess a hybrid Sixers Spurs fan, and you know you go through, and you know when you joined the league, you joined a very young team, right? You had
Right.
coach Earl Watson, obviously, likes of Devin Booker, Eric Bledsoe, Tyson Chandler, and Jared Dudley, who I'm really fascinated as well, because it seems like a lot of players. I see the smile on your face, and this is exactly what I expected, because you hear a lot of stories about how Jared Dudley has like such a great impact on guys, and he's just a great conversation with. But when you got into the league, was there a certain guy that maybe took you under their wing?
JD is definitely a vet to all the younger players, and um, just somebody that's done it the right way. Super professional, has his fun off the court, but definitely gets his work in. Is professional. Um, it was kind of a journeyman, but every place that he had to stop, he had an impact, whether he played or not. And it just gives you kind of the nuances of the game, and he gives you the nuances of how to maintain and manage off the court as well. And big success to JD later winning a ring with the Lakers, and then now being on coaching staff with Dallas. But I had a lot of vets that took me under their wing. Brandon Knight, one of my vets in Phoenix, took me under his wing for sure. Then when I got to Indiana, Kyle O'Quinn, um, people like that, Tyreek Evans. I've had a lot of good vets and a lot of good big brothers in this NBA.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like everyone that runs into JD at some point, you know, has a story to say about him, and it sounds like he's a character as well. And it seems like, you know, if you're a funny guy, it sounds like he's a funny guy. So you probably really did bounce off one another.
No, for sure. JD's probably the most unassuming player in the NBA. I can stand that, or that was in the NBA. Like super funny, super good dude, loves to have a good time. Definitely not the perception you would probably um, assume from him, for sure.
The beginning of your 2017 season, obviously didn't go the way you wanted, right? You jumped right into an injury, and that obviously, you know, delayed things for you. For you mentally, I mean, what did that do for you, and how were you able to kind of bounce back?
Well, I had re-injured something I had overcome in college, so it was really tough to have to go through literally the same thing again. And then obviously, you know, just being drafted, just having a good summer league, and to have all that come to a halt and be injured and be out for your first basically 6 months of your NBA career. It was definitely devastating. It was tough. I didn't understand it really, like why God was choosing to have this timing of everything. But I just put my head down and worked every day. Um, like I said, I had been through it before, so I kind of had some direction, idea how to attack it every day, and I feel like I did so. And I just had a later start, I feel like, than a lot of my counterparts. But I did work my way back to the court. It wasn't as much time and opportunity as I would like, but I was able to get back on the court and get back out there.
It's interesting because you joined the Suns with that initial young core that we see now that's making run as one of the top Western Conference teams, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and Mikal Bridges. What I'm curious about is, Jaron and I have already talked about Devin Booker on this podcast, but when you spent time with Devin Booker and you saw him, put in the work, did you see flashes of, the abilities that he's showcased now as, one of the top shooting guards in the league?
Most definitely. I was vouching for Book for a lot of my friends way back then because I could see it. Like, one thing I can say about Book is I've seen a lot of people that are talented scorers and are able to put the ball in the basket, but he's probably the number one person I've seen, like, his ability to heat up. He can go on a 10, 15-0 run by himself, just a swing of just 10, 15 points. So when he heats up, like, and he gets going, he hops into that mode. Like, he's one of the most unstoppable players I've ever seen and played with and played against. And the biggest thing I can say probably is his competitive spirit. Book does not like to lose. Every time he's on that court, he's trying to win. And I think that's really the separator. Like, he wants to be great. He wants to take the big shots. And he doesn't have fear about that. He wants to carry that on his shoulders. So I can say that competitive nature is the biggest thing about him.
So much like Jaron, you reached a fork in the road and you had to make a decision between sticking with the G League or, playing international, and you made the decision to go to Taiwan. It's always difficult, right? You grow up in North America, the goal is the NBA. So what was the thought process in playing overseas and hopefully getting back into the league?
Well, I had just signed with Octagon, my new agency. And it was a period right after the bubble. So we didn't know what was coming about for the next NBA season, when it was going to start. And I had an opportunity to play in Taiwan. I knew it was going to be a relatively short season, new league, new opportunity. I was just looking for a fresh start, especially when I didn't have clarity on what was going on with the G League and the NBA side. And so I decided to take a leap of faith and go overseas, and I absolutely loved it. It was a new experience, but basketball-wise, it gave me an opportunity to kind of get out of the playing a role and filling a role like most NBA teams and G League situations are orchestrated. So I got a chance to kind of get the ball back in my hands and show that I can make plays for myself and for others. And it was just a great experience. The fans, they showed major love, and just being so far away from home, being in a new experience, new league, playing against different players. It was fun, and I enjoyed every second of it, honestly.
Was it hard for you to transition, like your first few weeks over there?
No, they made it pretty easy as far as we had a translator. So I couldn't directly understand like the coach and all that, but we had a few players that spoke English. We had translators, so they made it as easy as possible for us to communicate. And in basketball, it was just basketball. A lot of the pressure were on myself and Kadeem Jack, our other import. And we just really had to just power through and really lead our team to most of our victories.
I have a question about the G League, though. So, I mean, obviously you played in the NBA, you also played overseas. It's like, what led you to decide to play in the G League again? Because for me personally, like I would never touch a G League ever again because I just think it's a bad brand of basketball. Like, obviously you can get opportunities like you just got right now by being called up, but that's only a certain amount of guys every year. So it's like, in my opinion, the G League is another leap of faith. And I think 2 years ago, like last year was my first year playing overseas in Israel. The year before that, I played strictly G League the whole season up until the like COVID hit. So for me personally, I feel like that was a wasted year. Like I could have been like to get to like Euro League, Euro Cup, like high level Europe basketball, like you have to like start off at the bottom and really build yourself up unless you're a well-established NBA guy coming over. Like you have to start somewhere low and like really develop overseas. So I feel like that year for me, like I feel like I'm a year behind, you know what I'm saying? Because I had that year in the G League where like nothing happened. I was hurt for like half of the year, and then I didn't go to showcase or any of that stuff. Then COVID happened, so I was out of basketball for so long, and kind of like you said, I didn't get invited to the bubble. And August came, and I'm texting my agent like, man, like what are we gonna do? Like he doesn't know when the NBA season's gonna start. He doesn't know when the next G League season's gonna start. So I was like, all right, I'll go overseas. Like whatever. Went overseas and like grades played well. It was hard to adjust a little bit in the beginning because like the language barrier and all that. And I mean, you haven't been to Israel, but you can feel like you're in a foreign country. Like I'm in Germany right now. I don't feel that. But when you're in Israel, like Tel Aviv is the main city over there. It's kind of like Miami. It's very nice, by the water, all that. But the city I lived in, like it's like shacks, not shacks. Like it's a little bit of exaggeration, but like it's not as nice. Like as like when you go outside, you don't see nice buildings everywhere.
Right.
Like the grocery store may be in like a little like it's not like America. It's not what we're used to. So it was kind of hard for me to adjust. But I did enjoy the experience, and I'm on a better team now. I'm in the Euro Cup, good city, good team, good club, all that. So it's like when I look at the G League and when I look at where I'm at now, I ask you, like, why would you choose the G League over playing overseas again?
Well, before I touch on that, like, the G overseas definitely it's tough in that because you don't know what type of situation you hopping in, both on the court and off the court. Right. So as much as I loved it overseas, like on the court, off the court, you know, I had to move a few times. Like people just have different quality of life and different expectations than we do as Americans. So that's definitely something that I can attest to. But this year going to the G League, man, everything I can honestly say, I'm a man of faith, but it really was just really God, this whole experience. It started in Summer League. I was supposed to play for 2 other Summer League teams, and then Denver had people go down with COVID. So consequently, I ended up playing with them in Summer League, played well through all of the different COVID things they had going on. And then right away from Summer League, they wanted me to come to camp, even though I knew they didn't have roster spots. Coach Malone was actually a big fan of mine, and he hadn't coached me, but he was texting me. We were talking. He was saying how much he had wanted me to be a part of our training camp, Denver's training camp and all that. So after I gave it some more time and thought, I was just like, you know, let me ride this wave of, you know, having a coach really appreciate me and appreciate my game and me instilling confidence in me and not feel like somebody just blowing smoke, you know. So I appreciated that. It was refreshing, you know, to finally have that in my career, somebody that kind of saw something in me and wasn't afraid to express it. And it wasn't just what he was saying, it was how he was kind of showing me, you know, our conversations were a little bit different. So ultimately I decided to go to camp, had a good camp, but had limited opportunity, but played well in my opportunity. And I went to the G League with Jason Terry as the head coach.
Where at?
Grand Rapids. It's Denver's new G League.
Oh, so Denver has that one now. Okay. Yeah,
Grand Rapids Gold. And it was a grind. As always, the G League is a grind. But we had some vets. We had a good team, and we were just figuring it out. And I just went out and just said, you know what, I'm going to control what I can control every game. There were some up and down games that we had in those 7 games that I was with them, but it just worked out, you know. And G League, Denver had a hardship exception. Called me up from the G League, and I was ready to go. And they've shown me they believe in me and given me opportunity here, and I've been able to take advantage and capitalize on it. So it's been a blessing.
Did your agent relay the message to you, or did somebody else in the organization contact you?
They called me like on a late Thursday night, like, we need you in the morning. Like, you know, and then my agent called me, and I was just up all night packing, washing clothes, just ready to go, just with excitement though. But it was a very quick process. It wasn't like my agent was. We had talked about a few things, but it wasn't like, okay, you can expect this to become.
It was random, completely random.
Man, it was. I was literally eating dinner, and they called me like, "What are you doing?" Like, and told me be ready by tomorrow. Be out.
That's gotta feel great, man. Right?
Man, it was surreal for me and a great feeling just because now although I played in the G League, like I was telling my agent beforehand, I've done the G League at every level as an assignment player, as a two-way player, as a E10 guy. So now this was my first experience actually being called up, you know, from straight G League. So it was definitely a great feeling to feel like I made it out and have an opportunity to play and get back to that for sure.
Yeah, I remember the moment my agent called me. He kind of surprised me with the information. But I remember when he told me, like, I was like, I couldn't talk for like 10 seconds. And as soon as I hung up the phone, I just started praying immediately, like thanking God, because it feels so surreal, man. Like you want to tell your family, you want to tell all your friends, but you just kind of feel overwhelmed with like all these emotions. Like, and for me, like that was my first time ever getting to the NBA. Like I was a two-way guy with Cavaliers, and that was my first time ever. You know, like that moment for me was more special than a draft night. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I shared that moment with myself. I was down in Canton by myself watching the Georgia-Alabama game. And my agent called me like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, we just got back from a road trip in Fort Wayne. We got a game tomorrow. I think we leave for Wisconsin." He was like, "Oh, what are you doing in the morning?" I was like, "On the bus, man." He was like, "I need you to do me a favor." I was like, "All right, what's up?" "I need you to go to Cleveland, go sign your new two-way contract." And I was like stuck, man. I was like, "Andy, stop playing. Like, chill. Like, stop playing." I was so surprised, man. And like, I know how you feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an overwhelming feeling of joy and just happiness and thankfulness for sure.
Sure.
I have tons of questions because I got questions about Mike Malone and obviously your Nuggets experience. But just to go back to your Grand Rapids, you talked about a great group of vets. You had the opportunity to play with Lance Stevenson, who I imagine is a character in himself. What was that like, and what is he like a ball player?
Yeah, Lance is definitely hilarious, man. Good dude for sure. Really good dude. Brings a certain level of energy every day. Something you can appreciate, especially when Jaron can attest. It's a long season. No matter where you at, it's always a long season. So to have somebody that can help keep a positive attitude and push you through, keep you lighthearted, when things are going tough sometimes. So he's a good dude. And then I definitely have grown more respect for his game. Obviously, everybody knows who Lance is, born ready. I've been watching Lance since, I was young because he was definitely older than me. But seeing him and having a chance to play with him in person, he's just got this downhill about his game. Like he's one of the strongest guards that I've ever seen. Like he gets to wherever he wants to get to, going downhill. And then his knowledge of the game and how he plays, like he plays the right way. He's a better passer than I thought. I was telling like a lot of my friends and family that I definitely respect his game more after playing with him.
Now, it feels like Mike Malone, Coach Malone, is probably one of the most underappreciated head coaches in the league, right? He's had to deal with so much adversity. Obviously, having, MVP caliber player like Jokic helps as well. But, between the Jamal injury and now, Porter Jr. and, bringing a bunch of new guys into his system. And it seems like he's really leaning in on defense as opposed to offense, despite, being one of the top offensive teams in the league. Tell me about Mike Malone and what people don't appreciate about Coach Malone.
Coach Malone is definitely, like I said, him and the Nuggets organization have been a breath of fresh air for me. They actually are real people, you know what I mean? It's not like weird when you come in and they talk to you. You can have real life conversations and talk about different things. It's not just basketball. It's not like just a weird aura like I've experienced kind of in the past with some other organizations. That's for starters. And then basketball, he's got a wealth of basketball knowledge. Obviously, his dad was a former coach. He knows the game. He's a great motivator. He's definitely a player's coach. Like, it's been fun playing for him, and it's easy to run through a brick wall for a player like him. For a coach like him. But he's definitely had some challenges, a lot out of his control, obviously with the injuries. And then just being in a market like Denver, I feel like both Coach Malone and Joker and the Nuggets as a whole are kind of put on the back burner and don't get the love that they deserve, because this is a great organization. They've been for the last few years, especially.
So let's talk about that first game. You come in, you score 9 points, and you have an efficient night. You get the W, and then that social clip went out of you getting the defensive player chain. Very similar to Miami has the turnover chain, right? Yeah. So that you're used to that with Miami, and then you get that in the locker room. Talk about that first W, that first game with the Nuggets, and how special that was.
Man, that was an awesome feeling. Being from New Jersey. Playing in the Garden. I've been playing in the Garden since I was like in 7th grade. So it was a familiar venue, obviously the basketball mecca. And to get a chance to actually be called up and then actually be able to go out and play, it was just a great feeling. It felt great being back out there, being back in the NBA, and being with a group of guys that I felt like we just shared the game and everybody had success. We played hard, and we were able to come out with a W. And that's the biggest thing for me. As long as I can impact winning in a positive way, it's not about the points. It's not about my stats. If we go 82-0 and I contributed in an impactful way, that's all that matters for me.
I think that's the part I'm fascinated about the most, because if you go through your history and you look at, the box scores, you're obviously able to score, and, you're a great passer as well, but it was your defense that really stuck out. And it seems like Coach Malone and this Nuggets, team moving forward is really starting to preach defense, because even Jokic is statistically having one of his best defensive seasons as well, when you thought he couldn't get any better.
Right. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Obviously, we know the league is full of some talented scorers. And we have some of those talented scorers on our team as well. But you got to get stops. It's all about schemes. It's all about making it tougher for teams to score, because, it's the most talented league in the world with some of the most talented players. And you got to be able to rely on your defense. Your defense travels. Sometimes offensively you can be playing on the road, and just tougher to get it going with different venues, different arenas, different crowds and stuff. But defense is something that you can always hang your hat on. So that's something I like to take pride on and try to make sure I can help my team with.
I think the easiest way for, obviously a young guy and also a guy coming up from the G League is obviously defense, man. Like, I tell everyone, every NBA team has 2 or 3 guys they're going to pay to score the ball, Coming from the G League or being a young guy, they don't need you to score. They need you to impact winning, like you said, whether that's defending, rebounding, running the floor, just complimenting the guys that they have, you know what I'm saying? And something that people also don't understand is, like, being a good teammate is highly valued also. Like, you as a 13th, 14th, 15th guy, call-up guy, two-way guy, you got to be damn near perfect in every aspect. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be interchanged easily with other players in the G League. So, like, what sets you apart? So coming in, being a good teammate, coming in defending, being ready when your number's called, being the first one to be early on the bus, being the first one to be at practice, last one to leave. Like, those little small things matter tremendously. Like, not even close.
Definitely.
Speaking of being a good teammate, obviously you got one of the ultimate teammates in Jokic, and I'm so fascinated by the guy because, he's like very unassuming, right? Very quiet guy on the court, unless, he gets in a shoving match, of course. But the thing I wanted to ask you is, how, do you have to constantly sort of keep your head on a swivel because you don't know when the ball is going to come to you when you're playing with a guy like Jokic? Like, how does he make your game easier?
I haven't been able to personally share as much time on the court as I would like, because I've been a Joker fan for years. I've been preaching about Joker before I had any affiliation with the Nuggets. I just enjoy the way he plays, and consequently how the way their team plays. Just a lot of ball movement, just easy baskets, and the game is much easier than we make it a lot of times. But he's one of the best players that I've seen with my own two eyes, to be honest with you. There's not a thing he can't do on the court. He's a point center. And then I've been impressed even with, like you said, his defense. You know, a lot of their shortcomings last season had to do with them being in a drop all the time last year. They struggled in covering the pick and roll last year in the playoffs. So to see him make the adjustment and see the team make the adjustments defensively has been impressive. But on that offensive end, there's really nothing he can't do. He can push the ball. He has a triple-double damn near every night. He's just super talented. He does some things that you just can't teach, honestly.
And is he more of like a quiet leader, or is he pretty vocal in practices?
Nah, he's definitely a lead by example, a quiet leader. He's not the most vocal, obviously, being from another country, but he definitely leads by example.
Awesome. Well, I don't like Jaron. Do you have any more questions just based on his Nuggets experience?
No, but I do have a random question. Davon, who's the hardest person you had to guard in the NBA, in your opinion?
Hardest person I've had to guard. I mean, I've guarded KD. I've guarded Paul George. Easily has to be LeBron. My rookie year. Yeah, my rookie year in Cleveland. And Bron is my favorite player, and I'm ready for that rematch. But he posted me up probably 4 or 5 times in a row, and it was either like a scorer and one like 4 or 5 times in a row. Like, it's just nothing I could do. Like, it was nothing. Yeah. He was just too strong, too quick. Like, and it went fast. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was like a surreal moment because that's my favorite player, and I was ready. It wasn't like I was giving him anything easy, but he definitely put me in my place, and I'm looking forward for that rematch.
You think he's the GOAT?
He's a GOAT. You're
gonna hurt Jaron's feelings here.
I don't really want to get into who's the greatest of all time. We'll see when he's finished playing. But LeBron is definitely a GOAT, and easily could be slated as the number 1 player of all time.
Yeah. I mean, my thing with him, man, is just longevity, man. Like, he's still doing it. Like,
yeah, I agree with you. I tell people, like, LeBron's got easily another 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? If he plays, you know, for that long, he's probably going to be the number 1 scorer of all time. He's going to be top 5 in rebounds and assists when it's all said and done. If he wins another ring, if he has 5 rings and is number 1 in scoring, top 5 in rebounds, top 5 in assists, how can you not be?
It's a hell of an argument.
The best player of all time. You know what I'm saying? People use the finals losses and whatever else they want to use, but it's hard to argue with, you know, somebody who's top 5 in every major statistical category and got 4 or 5 rings. So, I could easily say LeBron is the greatest of all time for sure.
I agree.
We know that you agree. That's for sure. I want to start wrapping up this conversation, but the one random question that I have for you is, how did you get this Captain Clutch nickname?
Well, that's not really a nickname I go by. I do go by Clutch Reed, but those T-shirts that I made were actually designed by a fan in Taiwan.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, she would make like these bobblehead figures for myself, the other import, and the rest of my teammates in Taiwan. So that was pretty cool. And then one day I had an idea, like, let me just kind of design a T-shirt with her. So we were the pilots, and that was our logo. So I just kind of played on the captain part, and then that was a fun process of it, just designing the shirts and getting them made. And I still have those for sale right now on my website at davonreed.com if y'all want to go tap in.
Yeah, that's where I saw them. I'm like, this is a pretty neat, like, you used the character and everything. It was a pretty interesting design. So I was super curious how you got, and I thought it was going to be Taiwan as well, because just going through your socials, it seemed like it just all sort of aligned that way.
Shout out to Taiwan though, and the P League and Taiwan as a whole. It's a untapped market. I was actually received a lot of different calls and different guys hitting me up on Instagram about playing in Taiwan and their league. They have another league or two that they started this year as well. So a lot of my former people that I know, like from the G League or playing against in the G League, or just people I know from just hoops anywhere, have hit me up about Taiwan and playing over there. So they're definitely getting more exposure. It's an untapped market, and I would definitely recommend people playing there. It was a hell of an experience. The fan love was awesome, and it was a lot more modern than I anticipated. Like Taipei, downtown Taipei was awesome. Sure.
That's great. The last thing I wanted to ask you about is, you hosted your first basketball camp 2019, I believe, right? And I don't know if COVID delayed the second one, but how special was it for you to finally host a basketball camp? And are you looking forward to doing another one?
Absolutely. The Davon Reed basketball camp, the very first one, was a success. I had it at my old high school, Princeton Day School. It was an awesome experience. Probably one of my favorite experiences of being a pro. To have my name and host a camp. People coming there for me and being able to just show love, give back, and share things that I've learned to the different campers, and just let people go in and share their talent. And hopefully have a great experience and take something away from the camp and that experience. So it was awesome. And big shout out to all the different coaches and former players that I had there to coach with me. And I think the kids really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to our second one. Obviously, with COVID, we haven't been able to do it the last couple of years, but I'm looking forward to getting back on track and getting back and having our second annual Davon Reed basketball camp.
I know Jaron is hoping to go back to Clemson one day and do media training for prospective athletes there one day. So maybe you can get Jaron to come out to your camp and teach the kids how to speak on a mic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, JB's got a presence for that. I feel like even with the doing this podcast, I'm proud of him because I think he has a future in this for sure.
Yeah, something I'm definitely interested in for sure. I guess I was presented with the opportunity about a month, 2 months ago, maybe, and kind of took off with it. I've been working with D for about 2 weeks now, so you're our first guest together. But I had about 6 guests like solo. I had like Kyle Kuzma, Derek White, like high school kids. So it was fun though. It was good. Good.
Keep it up, brother. I'm excited to see what the future holds for you in this for sure.
Appreciate it, bro. I'm happy for you too, man. When I saw the news, I was so excited, bro, because I know you work hard for it.
Man, definitely a blessing. I appreciate that. I'm definitely glad to be here, and I'm here to stay, bro. That's the next thing. Is like, by any means, I'm trying to advance and trying to stay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to go backwards.
It's all part of the journey, man. People on the outside looking in, they don't understand what some of these players go through to make it. You know what I'm saying? But 5 years from now, you could be on championship teams winning, and people will forget about this part of the journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a PJ Tucker thing. People see him with Houston and playing well and stuff. They forget that he was in the NBA for 1 year and then overseas for 5.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand the grind and hustle and the grit he kind of had to have to fight back and get to the league. Because it's not hard it's not hard. It's very hard to be in the league, be out for 5 years and then come back. Very hard.
For sure.
Very hard. Because teams have seen you. They've seen you already. They know who you are. They know what you bring to the table. And it's also younger guys coming in every year. So it's like, it's hard to get back. It's very hard to get back. So, obviously I commend you on getting back. Guys like PJ Tucker getting back. Like, it's hard. It's very hard.
For sure. I tell people, I've been telling people, it's crazy you would say that, as I use PJ as another example. It's not somebody that I know personally, but just, hearing about his story. And like you said, people see the PJ Tucker now, the PJ Tucker from Houston, the championship PJ Tucker. But like, people don't realize like you said, his story and the different journey he had to take. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling people, like, if he can do it, like, I can do it. Like, his
Right.
his will to continue to keep pushing and find his way back in the league. Because like you said, like getting drafted is hard. Staying is even harder. Getting back is even harder. You know what I mean? So big shout out to him for motivating players like myself and just giving me the courage to keep fighting and keep pushing and be blessed and have this opportunity again.
Well, Davon, we really appreciate your time. I know it was early for you, so we appreciate you waking up to join us here today. And obviously, we both wish you the best of luck. We know you got a game down in San Antonio tonight, so get you back to some rest. But all the best, and thanks again for joining us here on the podcast.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to be the first guest on here. And much luck and success to y'all for sure.
The bar has now
Appreciate
been
it, brother.
set.
Good luck tonight.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.